Hello everyone, I'm Frank and welcome to Learn How to Sudoku, where we take a very easy variant Sudoku puzzle and we break it down in detail so that you can learn how to Sudoku. Today's very easy puzzle is called Decades Through the Fog. And I think this is my first repeat in this puzzle series of doing the same setters puzzles 2 days in a row. But it's because it's by Megan33, and Megan33 does an excellent job with his puzzles. And particularly, I highlighted yesterday's because I wanted to focus on Fistmiffel's ring so that you could learn essentially Fistmiffel's ring theory. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out in the corner. I'm going to post a link there. But this one focuses on essentially a rule set, a different rule set, which is fairly becoming much more popular. So I decided to do this one. I'm picking and choosing which puzzles I do a little bit more carefully. I love doing all these Sudokus, but if I did every single one, I would slowly get. Basically, I would get behind, and that's what was happening with. I basically reset so that I got closer to essentially newer puzzles that were set. But the problem is that I'm kept on doing every single puzzle, and it was basically the backlog on it was getting pretty sizable. And actually, it's still getting sizable with just these puzzles. But I'm picking and choosing and being a little bit more. I'm not showing every solve that I do anymore. Because there's just so many Sudoku puzzles, so many great Sudoku puzzles actually, and so many great setters who are doing really cool, who are setting these puzzles, that it's just too many, right? I can't do that many puzzles actually in general, so I have to be a little bit more choosy about what I do. But anyways, I'm specifically choosing this because this targets a rule set I think that is becoming more and more popular, I feel. I've seen a decent amount recently. And we'll get to that right now, actually. What are the rules? We have normal Sudoku rules apply, which means fill the entire grid with digits 1 through 9 without repeats in any row, column, or box. The grid is partially covered with fog. Correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. So if you place a digit correctly here, it would clear the fog in that cell and in the 8 surrounding cells around it. So if you place a digit correctly, then the fog of war clears in the 9 cells that are around that digit. And this is normal fog of war. There are other variants that have been going around. This is the rule set I wanted to highlight. There is one and only one red 10 line where contiguous groups of cells sum to 10. These groups of cells cannot overlap and digits may repeat freely on the line even within sums. But you can't obviously break normal Sudoku rules. So this is I think this is called a 10 line usually. And basically, there in this puzzle specifically, there is only one of these 10 lines. So this is exactly one 10 line here that somehow goes through the fog and will basically come back here. This is actually a pretty cool thing that I think Megan 33 does a lot, which is basically you only have one line throughout the puzzle, but it's blocked by the fog. We can't tell where exactly it goes. But you can get enough information from that to solve the puzzle without guessing. But as an example, along this 10 line, every digit along this line must be part of a group of cells that sum to 10. but you can't have overlaps on it, right? So these two cells, it could be something along the lines like these three cells add up to 10. So you could have, say, something like 2, 3, and 5. And then you could have these two cells add up 10, like 1 and 9 or whatever. And then this could be, oh, it feels like I'm solving this already. But basically something along the lines, right? Or you could have something like actually 1, 4, 3, and 2, right? If the line were to go something like this or whatever, right? But you cannot have overlaps in these sets of cells that add up to 10. But every cell must be part of one set, one and only one set of that add up to 10. And that is that rule. So that's a 10 line. That's the rule I wanted to highlight. There's also Kropke dot rules, where a black dot between cells indicates cell values with a 2-to-1 ratio. A white dot between cells indicates cells with consecutive values, and not all dots are given. So, for example, if this were 2, this would have to be 1 or 4 to maintain the 1-to-2 ratio between them. If this digit were, say, a 6, this would have to be 5 or 7 to make sure that these digits are consecutive. And that's how Kropke dots work. And those are the rules. If you'd like to play along, there's going to be a link in the description. And now, I'm going to get started. Let's learn how to Sudoku. Okay, first thing that I spy, that my eye goes to immediately, is 3 cells with 2 black Kropke dots separating those 3 cells. There's only 2 sets of numbers that add up, that have a 1-to-2 ratio. Sorry, there are only two numbers that have a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 other digits. Let me rephrase that. There are only 2 digits in a normal Sudoku which have a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 other digits, and that is specifically 2 and 4, right? 2 can be in a 1-to-2 ratio with 1 and with 4. 4 can be in a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 and with 8. And those are the only 2 digits possible there. So we know this is 2 or 4 here. If this is 2, actually, let's start with 4. That's actually more interesting. If this is 4, that would mean it's in a 1-to-2 ratio with 2 and 8. But the problem with that, 8 can only be in can only add up to 10 with 2 or 1 twice. Well, if this is 8, it can't be 2 here because of the 2-8 pair already in the box. So that can't be 8 or 2, and it cannot be 8, 1, 1 because those digits, 1 and 1, would repeat in the same box. If this is 8, you can't have a 2 again in any of the box, so therefore you can't have an 8, 2, and this can't be 8, 1, 1 because that's a 4, and this can't be 8, 1, 1 because they're in the same row. So therefore, none of these can be 8. This cannot be then a 4 in the middle. It has to be a 2. So a 2 has to be in the middle, which means a 1 and a 4 are next to it, next to the black Kropke dots. Well, if this is 2, these 2 digits are consecutive. Okay, how do we attack this? For a 4, what are the sets of 10 that it can add up to? You could have 4 and 6, obviously. 4, 1, and 5. You could have 1, 2, 3, 4. You could have 4, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, let's look at the ones that are consecutive here. You could have 4, 6, which works. You could have 4, 1, 1, 2, 2. But that doesn't work because we can't have 1 or 2 here. You could have 4, 1, 2, 3, but that doesn't work because 3 would have to be here and you would have to have 1 or 2 here. You could have 4, 1, 5, but again, that doesn't work because 1 cannot be in either of these cells because of the 1, 4 pair in the box. And so then you could only have 4 and 6 here. This one cannot be, again, could be 4, 6, cannot be 4, 1, 1, 2, 2, because 1, 1, 2, 2 cannot be here. It could potentially be 4, 3, 2, 1. So we don't know anything about this one then. Oh, but also this one has to be consecutive. Okay, so let's focus on this cell specifically. If this is 4, it has to be 6 here, right? We cannot have 4, 1, 5. We can't have 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't have 1, 1, 2, 2, 4. And you can't have more than that, I think. You can only have double repeats at most. You could have potentially 4. The problem is this. If you try to have like 3 and another digit, that would already add up to 12, right? 4, 3, and 5 at minimum, because you don't have access to a 1. So therefore, it can only be 4, 6 if that's the case. Well, if this is 6, this has to be 5 or 7. The 7 could not be with 1 because it has to be 7, 1, 2 because it sees the 2 then in the box, which is not allowed. It cannot be 7, 2, 1 here because that would be 1 and 4. So 7 is not allowed. It could be 5. But if this is 5, that makes this 3, which makes that next to a 2 or 4. But the 2 and the 4 cannot be in the box because it's already covered. Actually, we should probably highlight what can be in the box. The rest of the box can only be 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Well, 3 cannot be consecutive with 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. So this cannot be 3. This cannot be 3. 9 cannot be here because 9 and 2 don't add up to 10. So this cannot be 9. If we had 5 here, it's 2, 5, and 6 at minimum, which adds up to 13. So this doesn't work because we need to add up to 10 exactly. This can't be 5. Because similarly, this can't be 6 or 7 because of that problem. So this must be specifically these 2 digits adding up to 10. So we're going to highlight that as this is a set by itself. So 2 and 6 doesn't work because, again, that's at minimum adding up to 13 with 3 digits. So 2 digits adds up to 8, which is not valid. Can't be 2, 7. Similar reasoning. So this must be 2 and 8, which means the remaining cells in this box cannot contain an 8. These 2 digits at least have to be part of a set, right? Because you can never have 1 digit adding up to 10 because 10 is not a digit. So it has to be at least 2. It could be more than that, but we don't know for now. These, again, must be 2 digits at least. This actually could work as 1, 5, 3. This could be 4, 6. It could be 1, 7. Sorry, 1, 9. It cannot be 4, 5. But it could be, so it could be 1, Oh, these digits must be specifically 7 or 9, because those are the only digits that are consecutive with the 8. This digit could be, this digit if it's a, okay, so 9 can no longer be here, because we don't have an 8 to be consecutive with it. So these digits are consecutive with 1 and 4, interestingly enough. So if this were 4, this could not be 5, because you can't have 5. The only possibility would be 5, 4, 1, but that's not possible to be a 1 there. It could be 6, and if it's 7, that adds up to 11, so that's not allowed. If this is 4, similarly, you have 4, 5, and 3 at minimum, which is 12. 4 and 6 has to be here. Actually, we know one of these is a 6 because it has to be consecutive with 5 or 7. And 5 or 7 are not consecutive with each other. So one of these is a 6. The other one has to be 1 and something. So the 1, can the 1 ever be with 7? If the 7 is with 1 here, this is at minimum 1, 7, 3 adding up to 11. Or this is 1, 7 adding up to 8, which none of them add up to 10. If this is 7 and this is 1, this adds up to 2, but that's not possible because we have a 2 in the box. So 7 cannot be here. This has to be a 5, 6 pair, which eliminates 5 and 6 from the rest of the box. So this can't be 5, this can't be 5. So 5 and 1 have to be together. If this is 5 and 1, you can only have 3 and 1 next to it. This could also be 1 and 5 with 3. Well, if we had tried 5, 1, 3, 1, the problem is we have 2 1s in the same row. So this cannot be 5 and 1 specifically. Therefore, this has to be 1 and 5, which makes that 6 and 4. This must be a 3, and this must be 1 to add up to 10 for this set. So that's, oops, this is a 1. That means these two digits are part of a set. We're going to make that, I don't know, blue, I guess. And these two are part of a set. This can't be 3. So the 9 could be with a 1. But if that's the case, if this were 9 and this is 1, this would have to be 2 to be consecutive with a 1. And that's not allowed. So this cannot be 9. This can never be 9 then, which makes this a 7, which makes that a 9. If this is 7, it could be with 3 or 2 or 1. But if this is 1, so say it's 1 and 2. It cannot be 1, 2 this way. It could be 2, 1, but then this one would be in a 1 to 2 ratio with a 2 only, which is not allowed. So this cannot be 7, 1, 2, or 7, 2, 1. So this must be 7 and 3, adding up to 10. So it's those two digits. We have these two then, but we're not sure where that leads to. This is in a 1 to 2 ratio. You can't have 1, 2. You can't have 2, 4. You can't have 3, 6. The 2's are eliminated by the 2 in the row, and the 3's eliminated by the 3 in the box. So this has to be 4 and 8, exactly. Well, the only one that's consecutive with 3 is 4. So this is 4, and this is 8. 8 can only be next to 2 or 1, 1, but this can't be 1 here. So this must be a 2. These two digits are the next set, at least. What are the remaining digits in row 2? 1, 3, 5, and 7. No, 1, 3, 6, and 7. I was going to say, 1, 3, 5, and 7 makes it impossible for these two cells to actually be the case. But the only digits that are consecutive out of 1, 3, or 7, 1, 3, 6, or 7 is 6 and 7. So this is 6 and 7. This can't be 6 or 7. This can't be 6 or 7. Okay, if this is 6, the only possibilities you can actually, if this is 6, the only possibilities you can have next to it have to be 1 and 3. But we can't have a 3 here. It could be 6 and 4 too, also. But since this has to go this way, it would have to be either 6, 1, 3, or 6 and 4. But neither of those work because the 3 is in the same row and the 4 is in the same row. Oh, this can't be 3, so this must be 1, which makes that a 3. If this were 6 again, this would have to be 6 and 4 because it cannot be 6, 1, 3, but that doesn't work. So this has to be 7. And it cannot be 7 and 3. It has to be 7, 1, and 2. So these have to be part of another set. These are part of another set. And this can't be 7. This is a 6. Six can only be part with, it can't have 1, 2, and 3 here. Well, the only digit that I can now add up to 10 with is 4. So this is 4. These two are part of the next set. What are the remaining digits in row 1? They are 5, 8, and 9. 8 cannot be here, therefore this must be an 8 here, and these must be 5 or 9. Well, this 5-9 pair eliminates 5 and 9 in the rest of this box, so therefore these must be 6 and 7. These then have to be 5 and 9. Okay. Where do we tackle next? Maybe here? The remaining digits in column 2 are 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Well, can it ever be 3 digits adding up to 10 here? The answer is no, right? The minimum here would then be for 3 digits is 3, 5, and 6. That adds up to 14. So it cannot be 3 digits. This then has to specifically be 2 digits adding up to 10. Well, the only 2 digits possible here out of 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 is 3 and 7. So this is 3 or 7, which means this can't be 3 or 7 here. This 7 and 3 have to be consecutive here. If it's 3, it cannot be 2, because then this would have to be 1. It could be 4, and this is 5. If it's 7, it cannot be 8 and 9. It can be 7, 6, and 5. Either way, this is a 5. This can't be 5. These 2 digits are consecutive, but it cannot be 2, because if it were 2, it would be consecutive with 1 or 3, and those are both in the box. The 1 is here, and the 3 is one of these 3, 7 pairs. So 2 cannot be here. Where is the 2 in this box? It has to be here. So this is a 2. These 2 digits add up to, or are the start of a set, adding up to 10. We're not sure yet if that is the case. These 2 digits are consecutive. Well, you can't have a 4 here either, because 4 is consecutive with 3 and 5. Can't have a 6, because 6 is consecutive with 5 and 7, and those are both already accounted for. Can't have a 7, so it must be 8 and 9 here. So this is 8 and 9, which means we have an 8-9 pair, which eliminates 8 and 9 from the rest of the box, which forces this to be a 6, which makes that a 4. Which makes that 3, which makes that 7. These can't be 6 anymore. The rest of the cells in box 1, or column 1 are 2, 4, and 7. And in column 3, they are 1, 3, and 6. Well, that means these 3 cells must add up to 10 because we don't have a 4 available. So it must be 6, 1, and 3, which means this can't be 6. Where is a 6 in column 3? It has to be here. So this is 6, which is part of another pair, another start. This cannot be 4. So again, this must be 1 and 3 because they are in the same box, so there can't be repeats. And this can't be 3 because of that 3, so therefore this is 1 and this is 3. This can't be 3 anymore because of that 3, so this is 1. Whoops, this is 1, which makes that a 3. These two are at least part of a next set. We don't know if they are the only set remaining. This is in a 1 to 2 ratio, and it cannot contain 3, and it cannot be 1. So it's either 2, 4, or 4, 8. Either way, there's a 4 here. It could be 2, 4 that way, or 4, 8 that way. Okay. If it's 2, it cannot be 2 and 8. If it's 4, it cannot be 4 and 6 because of that 6. So this is going to extend, but we don't know where it extends to. So it's at least 3 digits. It could be more than that. One of these is 4. Since one of these is 4, the rest of the row cannot contain a 4. So this can't be 4. These are 3 consecutive digits here. We already have a 1, 5, and 7 in the row. What can this be then? It has to be, I think, 2, 3, and 4, right? Because 6 is eliminated because 5 and 7 are not available. And 8 and 9 are eliminated because 5 and 7 are not available. Therefore, it must be 2, 3, 4. This can't be 2, so this must be 4, which makes that 3, which makes that a 2. This at least has 3 digits that are that add up to 10. It could be more. It could actually be 4. This can't be 2 because of this 2, so therefore it's a 1, which makes that a 2. It could be 4 digits adding up. If it could be 4, 1, 2, 3. That's a possibility. Or it could be 4, 1, 5. Actually, that works also. I think those are really the only choice. This is at least 3. Okay. Oh, and 1 does actually have to be one of these cells, right? Cannot be here in the box, can't be here in the box, can't be here. Okay, let's look at the remaining digits in row 4. They can be 6, 8, and 9, but this can't be 8, and this can't be 8. Therefore, this must be 8 here. Therefore, this is 6 or 9. This is 6 or 9. 1 has to be here. Okay. This can't be 4 anymore because of this 4. So this has to be 8, which makes that a 4. Well, it could be 1, 2. Well, now we know it has to have a 1. So it has to add up to 5 with the other digits. And it could be either 5 here or 2, 3 here. We're not sure which. This can't be 8. We don't know anything about here, unfortunately. What are the digits here? It cannot be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 6. It could be 5, 7, 8, and 9, but 8 and 9 don't work because those add up to greater than 10. If you have a 5 here, you could have 1 and 1, possibly. Oh, except that, okay, so if this line goes that, it cannot, if it goes this way, you still can't have 1 and 1. If you go this way, you can't have 1 and 1 because 1 can't be here in the column. So this can't be 5 then, which forces this to be 7. these two digits can be part of a set. What are the remaining digits in column 7? They have to be 1, 5, 6, 8, 9. These cannot be 1. This cannot be 8. This can't be 6. Aha, that's what we were looking for. So what can these consecutive digits be? 5 can be consecutive with 4 and 6, but neither of those are possible in that cell. So this can't be 5. If this is 9, it has to be 8 here, so this can't be 9. Therefore, this has to be 8, which means this is consecutive with 7 or 9. None of these can be 8. Therefore, this can't be 8. Where is the 8 in column 2? It must be here. So this is an 8. This looks like it goes that way. These digits are consecutive. You cannot have 1, 2, or 6, 7. So you could have 3 and 4 if 3 is here. 3 and 4. 4 and 5 work. No 6 or 7. If you had 9, you would have to have an 8 with it, and that's not possible with this 8 there. So this is 4. One of these is a 4. Where is the 8 in this box? Cannot be here, cannot be here, it cannot be here, so it must be here. So this is an 8, which makes this a 9, which makes that an 8. This can't be 9 anymore. Where is the 4 in row 6? Cannot be any of these cells, can't be any of these cells because of the 4s in the boxes, so it must be here. So this is a 4. The remaining digits here have to be 1, 5, 6, and 9. Okay. 2 has to be one of these two cells because it can't be here, it can't be here. It can't be here. What digits can this be? It could be 1, 2, 5, potentially. If this is 5, though, this would have to be 1, which is not allowed here, so that doesn't work. Actually, let's look at both of these. This can be 3, 4, 5, or 9, but this cannot specifically be 3 or 4. So this is 5 or 9. We have a 5, 9, 5, 9 pair, actually, in column 8, which eliminates 5 and 9 in the rest of the column. Therefore, this can't be 5. This is a 4, which makes that a 3. This is 5 or 9. We know these two digits don't add up to 10, so this must be part of the set. And if it's 9, that doesn't add up to 10 at all with 4. So this must be 5, which makes that a 9, which makes that 5. This has to be 1 to add up to 10 here. So these two are part. This can't be 1 or 5. This can't be 5, so this is 9. This can't be 1 or 5 or 9, so that makes that a 6. Which means these can't be 6. This can't be 5 here because of that 5, so that makes that 9. Which means this can't be 9. This can't be 4. Where's the 4 in column 1? It has to be here. Where's the 5? It has to be here. We have a 1, 5, 1, 5 pair in this box, which eliminates 1 and 5 in the rest of the box, so this can't be 1 or 5. We also have a 1, 5, 1, 5 pair in row 6, which eliminates 1 and 5 in the rest of the row. Therefore, this is 3 or 7, and this is 3 or 7. But this can't be 3 because of that 3, so this must be a 7, which makes that a 3 no matter what. So the question is this 1, 5, and then this is a separate set? It cannot be because this is 3 and 6 adding up to 9. The 3, 6, 4 adds up to 13, which is not allowed. Oh, I'll pause. Hold up. That was my alarm going off. So if this were 1, 5, this would force this to either be 3 and 6 adding up to 9 or 3, 6, and 4 adding up to 13. So that's not allowed. So this must be specifically 1, 2 to add up to 10. So then these two digits add up to 10 by itself. And these two digits must add up to 10 because these three digits already add up to 10. So this must be then a 3 and a 7. So this is 7, which makes that 2. This 7 means this can't be 7, so that's a 2, which makes that a 7. That leaves a 2 here, so this can't be 2. This 1 here makes that a 5, which makes that a 1. This 7 makes that a 6, which makes that a 7. This is a 7-9 pair, but this can't be 7 because of that 7, so this must be 9, which makes that a 7. This 9 means these can't be 9, so that's 6 and 5 respectively. That makes that a 9. This 6 makes that a 9, which makes that a 6. The remaining digits in row 5 are 5 and 9. This can't be 9 because of that 9, so this is 5, which makes that 9, and then we have 5 and 6 remaining, so this is 5, and that's a 6. And that's how you solve it. Yeah, pretty straightforward, I guess. I just wanted to highlight this specifically because of the 10-line rule set, which is becoming more and more popular, I feel. And it is a very interesting rule set to make puzzles around. So I think it's actually very useful to know about this. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Learn How to Sudoku, and I'll see you next time on Frank Puzzles. Take care.